Hi everybody, it's Honest John. I have some good news that not very many people know about. And the news is that the federal deficit has decreased every year since Obama has been in office. Depending on who's doing the calculations, the decrease has been somewhere in total between 35 and 47%. It's really hard to get definitive figures because one group has one, another group has another one. Now, 90% of Americans don't even know this. If you ask most people, they would guess that the federal deficit has increased under Obama. Now, you would think that the deficit hawks would be delighted that the deficit has been decreasing. And you have to remember that these deficit hawks, the conservatives and the Republican Party, only became deficit hawks when they lost control of the government. Prior to that, the Bush administration started off with a surplus, and their deficit increased every year that Bush was in office. War spending had a lot to do with that, and also huge tax breaks for the rich. So the so-called deficit hawks that you would think would be delighted about this, they hate it. They hate the fact that the deficit has fallen. They won't celebrate it because it gives the lie to their calculated myth of the Democrats being profligate spenders. And second, because it happened without the reductions in the social programs and Social Security that are so despised by the GOP. See, the deficit hawks are not really deficit hawks. They have no interest in actually reducing the deficit. What they are interested in is getting rid of social programs and the social safety net. This is illustrated especially by the Republicans' approach to tax reform. They insist that it be revenue neutral, that it not actually create any new revenue to help decrease the deficit or pay our debt. This is because they really want the rich to keep all their tax breaks, and the corporations, which are so wasteful. The most wasteful spending that the government does is at the end of the year handing out billions of dollars to corporations that are eminently profitable and are not using that money to hire anybody or to pay good wages. If you really want to cut the deficit, here's what you have to do. Matter of fact, I'm not talking about just cutting the deficit. I'm talking about paying off our national debt. First of all, you need to restore progressivity to the tax code. The rich control about 80% of all the wealth in the United States. They should pay their fair share of taxes. By restoring progressivity, I mean that there should be, and like they used to be, tax brackets based on income. And the rate would go up to 65% for the highest tax bracket. Second of all, there would be no special tax rate for income that's only earned by the rich. All income would start off being taxed at the same rate. There's no reason that a working stiff should pay a higher tax rate than a billionaire. We saw how small Mitt Romney's tax burden was when he released his 1 year of income taxes. If he'd have released the other years, we would have seen it was even smaller. Second of all, get rid of corporate welfare. All right. The same people that are opposed to helping out poor people think that corporate welfare is just fine, but it is the most wasteful thing we do. And why should a person who is struggling to make a living, to support their family, but who does what he's supposed to do and pays his taxes, why should his money go to billionaires? It makes no sense. It's obscene. Third, raise the minimum wage to $15. There's no reason that a person who works full-time should not be able to support their family on the money they make. You raise the minimum wage and you would reduce the need for government assistance in programs like SNAP, which better known as food stamps, by 40%. So you cut government spending and also turn those people into taxpayers. So you're not only cutting government spenders, but increasing revenue. Right now, the minimum wage is so low that it is basically a subsidy. Oh, here we go again, subsidizing the rich again. Yeah, it's another subsidy for places like Walmart and McDonald's. And they are making plenty of money. They don't need to be subsidized by the taxpayers. And finally, let's tax the churches. A church is a business. They're raking in money like crazy because there's a sucker born every minute. They do more harm than good. The least we can do is get rid of their tax exemption and make them pay their fair share of taxes. Thanks for listening.